What's up, fellow car enthusiasts? My name is Eric, this is Gridline Go, and today I want to go over how I utilized the factory wiring harness to run the fog lights on the Honda, although it wasn't optioned for it. Alrighty, so let's get into it. With any type of wiring that you are doing, you want to start with pulling the wiring diagrams if you have it. And I'm going to put it here on the screen for you to show you exactly what I'm looking at and how I realized how I could do this. If you're not familiar with wiring diagrams, you want to start at the top and you work your way to the bottom. The top is positive, the bottom is negative. So these are two side by side. These are printed profile wise. So the little hashes in the middle there, the splits, you go ahead and fill those in with these little red hashes. Just imagining this. This is what this is doing. It's connecting two pages of wiring diagrams together, and this is how it's laid out. Now, continuing on, you're gonna need your fuse. Your fuse allows the electricity to continue through. It is the protection device if you actually had a short that was pumping more amperage than it should be. This protects the circuit and your components and your switch from fires. This is gonna be missing inside of your fuse box, which is under the hood, and that's expected. You're gonna follow the little diagram that's on top of it. Next, you're gonna need the relay. The relay is what this is being controlled from the switch to the load. That way you're not running the load amperage through the switch. The relay will be able to take the heat from the current and dissipate that way, so you're not getting a super hot dashboard. Then the thing that you're gonna be pressing on is the switch. That just has a blank plug on your console, and this is what you're gonna actually swap out. This you're gonna end up popping out as well. And then at the bottom, you have your fog lights. Those fog lights are what you are trying to get to turn on. And then once you have everything installed and running nicely, they will go ahead and they will turn on. And in fact, these are wired specifically, so you can't just run the fog lights alone. You have to have the headlights on as well. So this is what your console is gonna look like. You have your buttons and your switches, and I'm gonna go ahead and just do some pictures about how to disassemble it. You pull the panel off and it exposes the screws that you need. There's one there, and there's two up on top behind the instrument cluster. Unscrew those, and then you're able to pull that panel down even further. You can see there actually how I rerouted the cruise control switch lower into that blank space, because I added another fog light switch for the roof light. That'll be a different video on how I routed that and how I wired it. But right now I utilized that empty blank space, which I think would be for like an alarm or something. I put the cruise control switch back down there. So you can see all the wiring hoopla that's going on. That's all factory. That's typically gonna be there. You can see there, the blue one is for the four-wheel drive and the two white ones are for the fog lights. The one in the center is for the lower bumper lights. I actually also have it connected for the brush guard light in the front. And then the one on the left there, I have that one for the roof light. You're gonna see some splices in there. It's a little shoddy. Don't judge me, but it works. So here it is, kind of just blown apart, as you can see. And I have the 4 connectors back there. Those 4 connectors are actually the blue one. The blue one there is 4-wheel drive. The 2 skinny 5 pins are for the fog lights, and that thicker white 5 pin, that was for the cruise control. So I just pulled that up. That would be actually up there as well, and I rerouted it down below. I have the switches installed there. So there's a cruise control plug, and that I rerouted to the back side. I moved that cruise control switch downwards to that empty space, and I plugged it all back in. So in this case, what I ended up doing was I found that one connector, that one white connector, that skinny one, the skinny 5-pin white connector, and I plugged it into the factory switch. That switch I got from the junkyard, and I ended up just popping it in there. So that's all you have to do for the interior. Continuing on to under the hood. Under the hood is where you're gonna add the fuse and the relay. Those two are absolutely essential. It's not something that is optional. Okay, so you're gonna find your fuse box. Your fuse box is on the passenger side next to the battery. You can kind of see it there with the 24F. It'll be right there, it'll be right next to the battery. And you'll see the diagrams of how it's laid out. you'll see right out here, we got a 15 amp fog light. That's for your fuse. 15 amps is the fog light wiring is actually rated for. So do not use anything higher. You must use a 15 amp fuse. So I could probably drop it down to a 10 amp, maybe even a 7.5 amp. I'm probably not even pulling that much amperage out of those LEDs, but I'm gonna still put a 15 amp in there because that's what that wiring is rated for. And then you can see on the left there in the parentheses, it says fog light. That's because that's an option. Typically you'll see the parentheses with the options. This car doesn't have the fog lights, but it does have AC, so that's nice. But so that relay and that fuse is there. So looking at that, that's how you can kind of identify, oh, actually it says right there on the fuse box, it has parentheses, it says if equipped. Continuing on, go ahead and pop that off. That's your relay that you're gonna go ahead and install. It's a standard ISO relay, literally just plugs in there. That's it, it's all you gotta do. And you go over to your fuses and you'll have your fuse right here. So this is your 15 amp fuse. That's the one I installed. That was just blank space, like as if you could see down below the 10 amp on my finger or down below the other 15 amp. It's just blank, there's nothing there. So under the car there, you can see that I am now, wow, that's a horrible photo. Okay, so in fact, well, you can still see. So I got my fog light there with the yellow lamination over it, and then you can see the green and the black wires. Those green and black wires are the factory wires, and then the red and black wires, those are from the connector that I soldered in myself. So I did black to black and then green to red. That was how it's wired. That is power and ground. All I did was make that power be able to be distributed through the connector I added. If you pulled fog lights from a junkyard car or you bought them online and they have a connector, it's actually gonna go right into there. So that, I think actually the bulb might plug right into the back of that. So that just plugs right in and that's done. It's that easy. Obviously you make it as complicated as you need it to be. I made it probably the most complicated by just making my own connector in there. So I wanna stress this just a little bit. When I did this, I made sure that those wires were in good condition and they weren't shorted, they weren't chafed, and the fact that they were there. So if you guys are gonna go this route and you're gonna use the same factory wiring harness, please make sure that those wires are in good condition. I need you to understand that. I assumed that they were, and then I tested that they were, and in fact they were. So this is how simple it is. It really is super short, super simple, and you can use a factory wiring harness. You don't have a bunch of gaudy switches all over the place, not factory looking. So this is factory, this is a setup, this is nice, standard ISO, 15 amp mini fuse, and you're done. Oh, and switching the lights, yeah, those are important. So that's it. If you guys liked this video, hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I will be doing more videos like this on how I wired my other lights and tag along as I upgrade, modify, and then put the car to the test, because I'm telling you what, man, I'm ready to get outside and off-road and go camping with my buddies and my wife and oh, my dog. I just want to go outside again. Oh, so the world's opening back up slowly but surely. Don't call me Shirley. All right, see ya.